I'm right there with you on the lots front. So let's get started with our Hall of Fame ceremony. We have 7 or 8 people, and as a deaf university and programming, we have 1 Hall of Fame experience offer. And we've got 7% of our players get into the Hall of Fame. And now these 7 people coming into the Hall of Fame, it's a very small group of individuals, and we want to say we are honoring your incredible, outstanding work as athletes.
The selection process is difficult because we start with 50 nominations and have to narrow down to 7. So as a committee, it's not an easy process. We eventually evaluate. Thank you to Stephanie Lockhart, Felicia Williams, Sam Atkinson, way in the back there, and another person, Mike Cantor, unfortunately wasn't able to make it today, but all of us were able to help steer the nomination ship. To the executive team, thank you for your consistent support of Gallaudet Athletics. Not only President Pergamo, but also the Provost Rashid. Thank you to all of you. We also have the honor of former President in attendance, Dr. Davila, former President Davila, and the being. Among us, we also have some former Hall of Fame athletes who include Chris Gould, Brenda Back, Jonathan Chris, Sarah Gallaudet, again, Stephanie Hannah Lockhart, former Hall of Famer, Brian Bennett, Brian over here, Amigo Randall Coleman, and the children of the Hall of Fame athletes. Hopefully, I didn't miss anybody. Oh, I apologize. Mariah. Anyone else I may have missed? Thank you for joining us this afternoon. Ultimately, I would also like to thank the student workers who have helped make this event possible. I see a couple here. I see Ariel. I see Robert over there in the back, over quickly. And a couple other student workers. Thank you so much. We'll be able to do this together. Before we get started with today's ceremony, I wanted to make sure that everyone had a chance to understand the historical significance of the old gym. And to do that, I'll invite Rebecca up to the stage.
Hello, everyone. Before we get started in the program, I want to say congratulations to the 7 inductees. What an honor to be here today. This building's formal name is the Peacock Alumni House, but its nickname is Old Gym, O-L-E-J-I-M. And this was originally intended in 1881 as the athletic facility on campus. So the basketball games that happened in this very room. We had an indoor swimming pool on the first floor. This was a basketball court. So while this was a small area to play basketball in, this is a home for many people, and I want to make sure we have that piece of history. It felt very fitting that we are having this reception here this morning. So thank you so much for coming.
Wow, can you imagine playing 5-on-5 basketball here with no 3-point line? Yeah. There were some Hall of Fame players who had a chance to play this for basketball. You'll get a chance to learn more about that later. At this time, I'd like to welcome President of Gallaudet University, Roberta Montoya.
important events. I think that the best way to wrap up what the events are going to be about having this ceremony. As we honor these 7 individuals today, which really speaks to a beautiful story of Gallaudet, from 1913 all the way to 2015. This span of individuals who are going to be inducted into the Hall of Fame is just an incredible way to tell our story. The story of Gallaudet's history, which we continue to share and we continue to grow and develop our strength. I am delighted to see the 7 individuals being inducted into the Hall of Fame. I would like to congratulate each and every one of you. And again, just to say thank you for coming. The rest of the program, I'm sure will be wonderful for all of us. I'm certain that we will leave with our hearts and spirits full as we listen into the wonderful stories that we share today. Stories about athletes and the old place where this kind of event has happened is right here at Gallaudet. I just want to close with sharing how it touched my heart today with 2 interesting things about athletics and sports activities going one day downstairs. My mother had spinal meningitis, and her eye-hand coordination was so down as it should be. So back in the 1940s or 1950s, when she was a student here, there was a facilitation requirement that all of the students had to pass at least one PE class. And you had to be able to swim. So the judge told my mother that if she was able to teach others how to swim, that she would be able to pass the PE requirement. So many people remember Gallaudet so fondly as being this building being a fitness center. And that's what it was. And back of many more senators or people who come here to school with us, to enjoy recreation activities with us, and that helped build the relationship with our Congress from then to this day. So it's all about sports and athletics. It's tied to this building and also to our history. I really wanted to share with you today that I'm so proud to see so many of you coming home today, in particular the 7 athletes. I want to say to you, welcome home. We want to make this a wonderful day celebrating each and every day. So thank you for being here.
So each Hall of Fame inductee will have an opportunity to present, and then that person will get an award, and then any remarks to be shared about them will be able to do so. The first inductee we would like to recognize is Prince Ortiz, who was an outstanding trailblazer in the sports of baseball, football, basketball. So we'll repeat the video so that way there's an interpretation of what was signed, and then we'll follow the discussion. So welcome. This is the beautiful Gallaudet campus behind me here. At this time, I'd like to let you know that your President, Human Batiste, has officially been inducted to the Gallaudet Hall of Fame, and congratulations. Hume was a legendary athlete that contributed a great fields of Gallaudet University Athletics, and it's an honor to have him inducted into the 2023 Athletic Hall of Fame. So, Meredith Peruzzi, who is King's historian, will share some remarks about the historical significance of communities and what has contributed to that.
I have the history that I got from Andre, his cousin, who's going to be coming up to accept the award. So it says he was a historian, but I gathered this history from Andre. And this was a really well-rounded individual that we have information about. It asked me to focus on the athletic portion of this history, so that's what I'm going to do today. He was really one of Gallaudet's best athletes. I would say a star athlete, in fact. He was involved in 4 sports throughout all 4 years here at Gallaudet. And for 100 years, that history has remained hidden, and we are recognizing him today. He was a trailblazer. He was involved in many activities across campus. He played in every sport possible at that time: football, baseball, basketball, and track. And was in these programs all 4 years during his time here. As a football player, he immediately became a quarterback his freshman year. And if you look in our Buff and Blue newspaper online, you will see his name come up quite a bit throughout history, making this decision as a captain, or making this game-making decision during a game. During track, they called him one of the fastest men that the college had seen in all its years. They called him a star athlete, and he was involved in the record setting in the mile relay team, and he became captain again his junior year. So again, you see him taking on the role of captain. And at that time, the one place he was not captain was on the basketball team, and he was involved all 4 years in play. He played center in basketball, and when Gallaudet was competing against the University of what is now the University of Maryland, it was a huge record-setting win, with the best number of points for one of the best games. And again, Hume was recognized for that. So if you look in our historical newspapers, you will see Hume Baptiste as a name come up quite often as an elite athlete. And he participated quite a bit in baseball. He was a shining athlete. As a freshman, the Buff and Blue newspaper tells us that Gallaudet identified him as a star player. Not just in the Buff and Blue, but we saw articles posted about him in the Washington Post, the Washington Times, and other mainstream news sources about his baseball and athleticism. He became captain of the baseball team his junior year, and when this man had free time, I'll never know. But also, he was involved in a DC-wide government league that had different political departments who would come together to compete with one another. So this was run through Congress. It was a government-led affair, and he ended up being one of the top players in town for that political team. So after his time at Gallaudet, he continued to play in minor league baseball. We found some statistics for him, in fact, and did all of that history of athleticism. At the same time, he was Gallaudet's first black deck athlete. At that time, Gallaudet did not accept black students, so he came in identifying as a Native American or indigenous person. Without that decision, we may not have had one of our most elite athletes in history. Playing in 4 sports for 4 years, He fully deserves this Hall of Fame honor. I would like to invite Andre now to come up. This is Hugh's cousin. Thank you so much, Meredith. Andre will be receiving the award on behalf of Hugh. This is Andre Baptiste, a distant cousin of Hugh and Baptiste. Andre will make a few comments now.
Good afternoon, everybody. I was told I had only 5 minutes. It's going to be tough to cover such an impressive figure as my cousin in 5 minutes, but I'm going to try to do my best. Hugh the Prince Baptiste was born December 2nd, 1891 in Granville, South Carolina. He died November 9th, 1968 in Los Angeles, California. Hugh was my great-grandfather's nephew. I didn't know Hugh because I wasn't born when he passed away. But the family maintained communications and knew exactly who this man was. At the premise, as it was alluded to earlier, at the premise of Hugh's fame is the issue of racism. When Hugh left South Carolina to come to Pennsylvania to attend what was called at the time the Pennsylvania Institute for the Deaf and Dumb in 1908. I'm jumping around in my notes here, so bear with me. All right, so he came up to Pennsylvania in 1908 because he had scarlet fever. He lost his hearing. When he came to Pennsylvania, he entered Pennsylvania Institute for Deaf and Dumb as a Negro. When he graduated, he entered Gallaudet University as a Negro in question. There's a letter that the president of the school in Pennsylvania wrote and said, Hugh is considered a Negro, and that is the rub. Hugh looked like a Native American. He had the complexion, he had the straight hair, and he was able to pass himself off as a Native American. He never returned back to South Carolina. He never maintained contact with his family. Doing so would have denigrated his ability to achieve the fame that he did. You have to understand how brutal racism was in America at that time, and how limiting it was. If he had stayed in South Carolina, all he could have hoped for was to perhaps be, at best, maybe an educator. On average, he would have been a farmer. Let me talk a little bit more about my cousin Hugh. Hugh was the only child of John Dozier Baptiste and Martha Juliet Hugh, an educator. They were married in 1889 in Charleston, South Carolina. By the age of 7, in 1889, in Charleston, South Carolina. By the age of 17, his father was no longer living. His father came from a family of blacksmiths in Richmond, Granville, South Carolina. His mother came from an educated family in Charleston. Hugh was the nephew of Thomas E. Miller, who was a member of the South Carolina State Legislature and the U.S. House of Representatives from the 7th District of South Carolina from 1889 to 1891. You all will recall from history that during the post-Reconstruction period, a number of black people were elected to Congress and the House of Representatives. His uncle, who, how do I explain this? His mother's sister was married to Thomas E. Miller. That's why he's his uncle. Thomas E. Miller figures prominently in the history of Hume because anytime roadblocks came up here in Washington, D.C., his uncle and his influence
influence intersected. Okay, in 1896, Thomas Miller was the first president of State Negro College, which is now called South Carolina State University. This is where Hume got his primary education. At the time, all of the universities had elementary schools, and he attended until he got scarlet fever and lost his hearing. His mother was a professor at this school. She was the first professor of industrial economics, which we now call today home economics. And as I mentioned, after that time, he went off to Pennsylvania to attend school. In September 1908, Hume entered Gallaudet College, as it was called at the time, listed as a Negro on his college papers. He graduated in October 1913 with a bachelor's degree. I thought about mentioning this and whether I should or shouldn't, but I'm going to mention it. I'm going to put it all out here. The fact that we have the university president here is good, because this is a bit of Gallaudet history that should be discussed. While Hume was a student here at Gallaudet, he got involved in a relationship with the founder of the university's niece. Interracial relationships were not permitted in those days, folks. As a result of that, Hume was expelled from the university. He was expelled. And he spent about a year outside of the university. And then he later entered to come back here, and he was allowed to graduate. In that year that he was away, he worked as a chemist up in Ohio, in Akron. That's what he was studying. He was studying sciences. We'll talk about chemistry a little bit later on. While he was in school, he passed as a Native American. You have to understand that at that time frame, blacks were not allowed to go to universities up here. Okay? But he was successful in all of his endeavors. As it was mentioned, he lettered in baseball, football, basketball, and track and field. He dominated all of these sports. The fact that they didn't allow him to be a captain in all of them speaks to the fact that we had to have some type of parity. We had to have equity. Upon graduation, he worked as a chemist before returning to play semi-professional baseball. He played for a number of teams. He played in Washington State for the Spokane Indians. He played in Oregon for the Portland Colts. He also even played up in Canada. In 1918, he was employed at the Goodyear Tire Company as a chemist in Ohio. While there, he broke the 440-yard run record in the state of Ohio as a member of the Goodyear Akron track team. All right. Now, he turned down all athletic offers professionally to pursue his dream of becoming an independent businessman. In 1919, he moved to Nebraska, where he became the owner of the Batts Master Tire Service and Repair Vulcanizing Shop. One of the things he did when he was employed at Goodyear was come up with processes by which you could refine rubber to make it more durable. And so that's one of the things that he did. He was a chemist. And so he was heavily involved with the production of better tires. In fact, during World War II, it was his business in Nebraska which outfitted the United States government with a lot of rubber supplies during the war. He was an independent businessman. He also had a Dodge and Chrysler dealership. While in Nebraska, he continued to play baseball for the Minden baseball team. He also tried his hand at farming. He bought a farm in Oregon. In 1924, he married Freddie Rummel. The union produced one son, Robert Hume Batiste, in 1929. After World War II, they all moved to Los Angeles, California. Hume had a lot of hobbies, but one of his favorite hobbies was art. He used to do a lot of painting and drawing. And he was a very impressive man. He even learned to sign in Cherokee. A lot of that had to do with maintaining the facade of the story that he went with, which was being a Native American, in order to be a successful person in America. On behalf of the Batiste family, I am humbly thankful for this honor. I am very appreciative that we're able to celebrate him. One of the questions that was asked while I was at the table earlier today was, did you think this was going to happen? And I responded that I didn't think it was a matter of what, but when. When the university acknowledged what a pioneer Hume was, all of the trials and tribulations he had to go through at that point in time to become a successful human in America. Thank you all so very, very much.
Andre, I got goosebumps from that story and history that you shared. Something that's important to know is that when it comes to the Hall of Fame, Hume actually continued playing after his career at Gallaudet. And he was one step away from the major leagues. And if he had done that, he would have been the very first black person in the MLB prior to Jackie Robinson. So there's a lot more history to the story than many people know. So thank you all for that. The next inductee is Patrick Diaz, who's an outstanding men's track and field athlete, and we have a video that show you.
Arthur Two. Hey, take care. You're probably surprised when I give you that call, right? I just woke up. You just woke up and I called him that day. I probably like, why is the university giving me a call? Okay, so we have Richard, who is the former athletic director at the time we were an athlete, and Richard Pelletier will share some remarks. I asked Coach Jack Milka to join me. I'm going to tell a few stories and then him add to it. I'm so honored to be able to present Patrick Diaz to you. I knew him as a football player. I was his coach, of course. So I could talk all day and football. He's honored to be in the Hall of Fame in track. He was an outstanding track participant. He was very pleased was as a runner and as also as a hurdler. In the 100 and 200 relay, as a sprinter. Those were very challenging events and he did very well. He was a student. He was a perfect student athlete. did well in athletics and well in his academics. He was very successful. His passion, his hard work ethic represents him well. As a coach, I love working with him coaching, right? The reason we elected him in the Hall of Fame, as I said, he was selected in the Capital Athletic Conference, CAC. That conference was a strong conference. Gallaudet competed in that conference for a long time. He was chosen CAC Player of the Year 2 straight years in a row, 96 and 1997. That only happened 4 times in the 29-year history of CAC having someone win 2 years in a row Player of the Year. The other one was another guy from Gallaudet, the Wayne Lincoln. He was in 96 and then also in 97. And inducted to the Hall of Fame. He was selected CAC Athlete of the Year in 1992 and 93. Perfect correction. He was the only other person to achieve that award 2 years in a row. In the 100, 200, 110, the 400 meter, he won Athlete of the Year, Conference Player of the Year, in all of those. And again, I mentioned Athlete of the Year twice, 2 years in a row. Something that's really outstanding I'd like to mention. He holds a track record in 1998 in indoor track, 55-meter sprint, 6.3. That record still stands today. I'll turn it over to my colleague here to add and expand.
I would like to thank Coach for speaking on my behalf. I retired 20 years ago from Gallaudet, and I was a little bit nervous about the quality of my signing, but I do want to also thank the interpreters here today as well. I worked at Gallaudet for 15 years as an athletic coach. And throughout my life, I've been teaching for over 45 years. And something that really gave me the biggest sense of pride here is any time that I can see, whether it's my students as an math teacher, or my athletes graduate and then continue throughout their life, go on to coach and work with kids and work with the younger generation. I recently had a chance to have a conversation with PJ at our table, and hearing the story about what he's up to now and the success that he's had as a coach. That's really what makes me most proud. When you're able to work with a young student, see them become an adult, and then have them eventually become someone who helps the next generation and so many other kids, that's what makes me proud. Working with people that I can do. Thank you for that. And also thank you for the honor or your meeting honor of being here at PJ's Lab. Thank you together.
Patrick, come on up and receive your award.
actually a challenge for me. I'm not used to public speaking and signing in front of a crowd, so please bear with me. I do have usher syndrome, so that means it's sometimes difficult for me to see everybody in the room. In the year 1996 was when I found out that I was diagnosed with Usher syndrome. So as I continued playing track and football, it was difficult, but I was still able to thrive and succeed as an athlete. As I stand here, it is an honor and a privilege to celebrate this accomplishment in front of everyone here, including my family and my friends. I want to start off by acknowledging three people. First, I would like to thank the Hall of Fame committee. I would also like to thank many of my friends who are here in the audience, my family members in the crowd. I would like to thank Warren Keller, athletic director, for actually reaching out to me and sharing the good news with me. I would like to thank my coach, Jack Murphy, as well as my football coach, Rich. Those two guys really did a good job keeping me on the straight path. They kept me straight, and if I ever got in trouble, they were never shy about making me aware and calling me back to fall back in line. And it was because of the two of them that I found a reason to stay here. I also want to thank my teammates. Again, thank you to my friends to show up today and show your support for me. You know, growing up, track was not something that I did officially as a kid. I would just kind of run around my neighborhood, on the block, on my street, at school. You know, I played for sports and different games. And eventually, when I became a middle school student, that was my very first time being on an organized team. And it was since that day that I realized my love for track and field. It was a great experience for me personally. I ran track in middle school, and because of that positive experience, I continued through high school, and then college, and eventually the Deaf Olympics. I was a part of a running club for adults and former track athletes, all positive experiences. And now I have the privilege of being a coach, currently a track coach, and I've been so for 20 years. In that time, I learned a lot from Coach Jack. I learned a lot from Coach Rich. And I've become a better coach myself as a result of knowing that. There's two additional people that I really want to take a moment to thank. One is my wife, Anita, excuse me, Anika. I would like to thank my wife, Anika, and my daughter, Cheyenne. Anika and Cheyenne are two important people to me in my life. They're the love of my life. They've always supported me. Nika has always supported me as a Gallaudet student back in the day. She never interfered with what I had to do as far as my commitment to sports. She never had any issues with that. She was always there coaching me, lecturing me, preaching to me, everything you can imagine. Anytime I was injured, on the track, if I had a cramp in my hamstrings or my calves, she would take care of me. She was my original nurse, so she took care of me as my nurse. Something else I'm going to share with you is I actually graduated in 1998. And when it comes to the Deaf Olympics that was in 2001, they actually hosted their tryouts here at Gallaudet. And Coach Tom Whitrow had asked me if I wanted to be on the team. But I actually had stopped in '98 from following track competition. And since that time, I was out of shape. My first son was born in 1999, and I asked my wife, hey, is it okay if I participate in the athletics? She gave me the green light. She said, do your thing. And again, very supportive. She could have said no, I would have stayed home and took care of the kids, but she supported me to pursue my interest in track. So I tried out. And I remember during that summer, I put in a lot of work on my training. I trained for about 2 months, and I finally qualified to make the team. And that event happened at home. And I put it in my wife to allow me to participate and take a trip around. So thank you, and I love you. I would also like to thank everyone else for being in attendance. Thank you for your support as well. George, cousin, thank you for coming. Thank you for showing up, George. And that's all I have. I came to Gallaudet in 2004, meaning I was in middle school by the time Patrick was breaking records. So I definitely remember seeing PJ Diaz or Patrick Diaz everywhere breaking records, being an outstanding track player, coming in first in a lot of meets. So thank you for your help. Next up, we have Alicia Johnson, outstanding softball player, graduated from Gallaudet University in 2014. Just watch the call video. So really she texted me afterwards, she was like, sorry about that, I was a complete shock. And to her defense, I understand, I'm her basically superior as athletic director, and she saw me from the road garden and was probably confused by that. It's okay, we understand as the assistant coach why you might have felt nervous getting that call. To share some remarks about Alicia, we'll have Joseph Hogan come up, and Joseph is the lead head coach, so come on up.
Hello everyone, good afternoon. Before we get started, I want to congratulate all 7 Americans in the Hall of Fame in 2023. Thank you. I used to coach the Gallaudet softball team from 2010 to 2016 for 6 years. From 2011 to 2013, assistant coach. When I heard that she was picked to be in the Hall of Fame, I was so proud of her. I'm proud of her accomplishments. One thing that was very special about her, she's the first and only softball athlete picked in softball sports. You have a number of different people picked for different sports, and she's the first one for women's softball. First year coach, things are pretty well. The second year, oh my goodness, we're guaranteed. She'll get 30 homers. She's practicing all the time. She's strong and very solid athlete. Can hit the ball far. In the first year, she had 3 homers, but her athletics still progressed dramatically, and the result is that she only had 1 home run. I was puzzled, but wait, don't worry. You have to look at more than just the home run statistic. She was more than a home run hitter, looking at her skills, her hitting. She showed she modeled in the average and was way beyond our expectations. So not just focused on home run, but on hitting, on leadership, on motivating the team. And the team loved her. And she was awesome, made an awesome contribution to softball. And she was very dedicated to sport. Her freshman year, I wasn't her coach, but her average was 264. My first year, she was 380 in her batting average. And then in her third year, she was hitting a 420 average, which is phenomenal. Her senior year was 327. Her dedication, her continued practice, being involved in practices every day, was way beyond what we expected. I'm so nervous. You see, I'm excited for her. I didn't sit in front of her all the time. But throughout, as I say, like in her practice, you saw improvement every day. I knew that she would receive, over her 4 years, she was Most Outstanding Player award 3 years. At the sports banquet, she always recognized as the Most Outstanding Athlete 3 years ago. The last 2 years of her playing, she was always picked. You always find her in the training room. As you get a little older, your body starts to hurt a little more, right? And you always got her in the training room with Gary Goldman. Those two, they are 2 softball players over here today. And I always told them they have to ice every day after practice. You know I think you know that, right? You have to take care of yourself after the game. In 4 years, in 137 games, she never missed one. And that's why she's so good about athletic, so the softball, she gets herself in shape, but she can play in every game. And in practice too. It was, in fact, from my memory, I don't think she really stood practice as well. Her role in playing softball was very good, and also she was a pitcher. One time I decided to bring her in and play at shortstop, and she was really way out of the comfort zone. But she played out there. She at game time. I had very limited roster, so we're injured, so I couldn't play for the academics. But in practice, she was really heavy. She had 4 years in the game, but she made the best of it, and we all had fun with her playing first time. Her attitude was exemplary in her leadership to the team and to be a leader. It made my job so much easier and for everyone on the team as well. She was also very young as a woman, very working, right? She's just a girl. There's the secret in what she did. Over the last few years, we loved her so much. The kids loved her. She's so easygoing. spent a lot of time with the teammates in the locker room. One other reason why I gave, I don't remember how many, about 1,000 watt speakers. I think it's still there. I got one in my pocket in the locker room. We share, the volleyball team as well. And a lot of the players love music, so I thought my goal was to develop a team bond. And we did it through music. And we found them in there. And volleyball started using that. Yeah. You don't have to pay you for half of that. Still there. She is the main reason that in those 2 years the team had outstanding seasons because of outstanding play. She motivated everyone, worked together as teammates. They all felt comfortable with her. And that's why in the last 2 years she's still like a captain of the team. So that, speaks for itself. I'm very honored and privileged to be your coach for 3 years. And I know all the teammates and coaches who played with you and coached you are very proud of you. And not only for me, but also your parents, your father. And I know that he's smiling over you today. Congratulations for being in the class of 2023 Hall of Fame.
Thank you. Thank you so much. So my eyes are up. Okay. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Like it was said, I am a woman of few words, so I want to say thank you to my coaches, and thank you for this school. Without my coach, I don't know, and I don't know if I would have made this school. My friends, my family, my teachers, everyone here, thank you. And I will keep it simple. That's it.
So Alicia and I actually missed each other. I was a Gallaudet student. She was a student at CST Fremont. And then I graduated Gallaudet, went to work at CST Fremont. And then she left. She graduated CST Fremont and played at Gallaudet. So I never actually got to see her in high school playing varsity. But she's a legend, and I heard a lot about Alicia. And as a softball player, she was always willing to hit it to the fences, right? And anytime she was at bat, everyone was on her list. So really, really honored to have you in the Hall of Fame. Congratulations. Next up for our 2023 Hall of Fame inductee, Pia Marie Colon, an exceptional women's volleyball player. We have a video that we'd like to show you, and when she got her call. To talk more about Pia Marie's performance, we have Lynn Ray Warren, who is Pia Marie's head coach. Come on.
It's serious? That's awesome. I was limited to 2 minutes. I said, that's not realistic. It's impossible. You know? I figured we'll maybe on 2, right? Okay. Give me on that. Obviously, you know all about volleyball. I was a coach, been a coach for a long time. We have a number of volleyball players in the Hall of Fame, and now we're focusing on Marie herself. It's not, really, it's not too easy to find somebody who really understands how you strategize the game on the floor, but she knew what to do at any given moment, and it got so much easier. I have a story to hold for the kids, and so I'll keep that today, and I'll come back. She's not afraid to make things happen. She's not afraid of new situations, she just gets in the next one. As a coach, I had even met a coach before. At that time, I was a coach at a school, and I saw, a friend of mine told me that coach at this, we came here for a tournament, and I thought, man, this is a great place to work, but I never thought it would happen. So we had a camp to develop our skills, challenge other teams. And especially so enthusiastic participated in that camp. The camp ran for a number of years because of the tremendous talent that our volleyball players. I was very lucky to have coached her the last 2 years. When I was able to be a full-time coach here, it was tremendous. When I came, Pat was assistant director, I was assistant coach of Pat. And I thought I would have people like him every year, but her value was immeasurable. Very different. She knew everything about the game and what to do. It was amazing. She understood the X's and O's and strategy of the game. So CAC, Capital Association, Athletic Association Conference, is a pretty difficult conference as it has been mentioned. So, everything's changed from coast to coast, so you can see her records online. Her records still stand. Is transferred from CAC to the new conference, and it goes all from coast to coast. Her records still stand for most assists. She was an amazing contributor to the team. World-class level play. When I talked to she played 3 out of 4 years, and out of that, we won championships in 3 of those 4 years. As a senior, we got into the Sweet 16, was the highest level we reached, Galladet's history. Of course, I know a number of players here, and I would like to have them come up and tell you the stories, but, you have to forgive me. I can't remember everything, so I've just taken these from different ones. But I know I tried to have everything summarized here. So, this is a collection of stories from a number of people. Your contribution in why you're in the Hall of Fame is because of this almost supernatural, magical way of making things happen on and off the court. The years you played, I could tell you so many stories. And we tried to figure out how she did it, but it was just something that was so spontaneous that emanated from her. Come to the Hall of Fame, and you try your jersey, it's an obvious kind of decision, because she was always making things happen in her assist. She was able to drop the ball so close to the net, it was made it easy to spike. Usually, she would, convulsions that road. She had a number of kill sections from. Without her, there would be no recognition for the city. Really simple. But I know we see the cycle of spring, she was a cycle of leader. There was not any chaos, there was just the thing that were like cohesive. Sometimes tension is created from errors, but she did not that it is there. The thing, she was almost like a charmer. She used her humor to keep the play of what we were getting. That's the barrel. She was able to keep from the closure, despite what was going on in the third game. Her work choices that she used better where it eats. The work choices selected cleaning. So Pat is the assistant coach. He's long-term working there. He saw a number of players come through. Grit was very important. She's 6'5", 6'6", but we're not. A lot of times she was a winner. Very adaptable. What was a winner? She wasn't starting. She didn't start. Had to make some tough decisions and had to let her go. And rather than led to the championship, it wasn't her best year. It was a year that she came back and we were able to win. We're so happy people to come to congratulate her and share this time. So we have to close with the story. Sometimes there's records being solved. We had the ladies, they had one too. So, we had to win to continue on with the semifinals. And out of the blue, she said, can I give you a shot? And she's offering shots to it. And I said, oh my God, what are you doing? And I said, she's talking about that. And the people put out what? And it was pretty good. There's so many human stories like share one out and all settings and all things.
Thank you so much. It was just like, wow, I'm nervous. If you know me, I don't always have the words to express how I feel, but I want to say thank you so much for this opportunity. If you know volleyball as a sport, then you'll know that we're not often recognized as a setter. Our offensive line is. But it's not the same for setters. And so it's so hard because you see these players that you love and you know that they're making things happen, right? You as a coach see that they're making things happen. But volleyball as a sport is one of those things where there is no achievement without all 7 players on the team. We need everyone on the court to make it happen. So those successes and the things that you mentioned around my teammates were not just my success, they were my team's success. Everyone who was a part of the team. Right? I could not imagine about my other teammates feeding me, valuing. If you're here, I mean, so many players, Charity, Yukina, there were many more. But they were the ones who challenged me to be a better player. And I would not be here without my teammates, so I accept this on their behalf. It was nothing but an honor. And just a few of the people that I like to thank, I like to thank the coaches. So in my time here at Gallaudet, Pat, Larry, who else was on the volleyball team? It was really those coaches, mostly. Kovacs was also one of my coaches. They pushed me to be a better player. And they took a chance on me from time to time, even as, right, I can get sassy when I need to be, but at the end of the day, I forget who we were playing against. But there were some really tall players. And I'm not afraid to die for a call if I need to. I will make things happen as necessary when I am playing. And that is one of the ways that I felt pushed to be a better player, to really step into myself and earn my spot on the team. If not, I was going to be replaced with someone taller because I am not very tall. And my years as a player here really developed my love for the game, and the opportunities afforded to me because I was a player were incredible. So thank you to the Hall of Fame Committee, thank you to Warren. This is a huge honor, and I could not have done this without my parents. My dad was one of my trainers growing up, and so whatever sport it was, I was glad to have that support, and it has followed me throughout my career. And I just want to say thank you so much.
You know, the Ray is right. When he talked about how height and the ability to be skilled in sport is hard to measure, at one point I was a sideline judge for all the volleyball games, and I was staying on the sidelines, and I can always remember that it was difficult to perform in that role. In over 20 years of experience, looking back, I can think back to seeing volleyball players dive on the floor. A bunch of the girls diving for the ball, and at some point it's all skill in my life. It was so easy for them to set their aim and be dead on the aim with their targets, so for our next inductee, Alexandria Gallaudet, who is a world-class stellar swimmer for the women's swim team of the class of 2015, here all the way from Sweden. Now we have Larry Curran, Alexandria's former head coach, to share some remarks.
Going back to before I arrived at Gallaudet, I had heard about Jeff Williams in 2005, 2009, and 2013. She was 14. And she won gold medal for the 50 and the 100 butterfly. And instead of you get a record for the 50-meter butterfly. That was a result of So Alex arrived in the fall on 50. In the county of Gallaudet was in transition with their coaches. And transferred into a conference. She was selected CAC, NEAC, 3 years in a row for individual achievement. And she was selected as Women's Swimmer of the Year. She played 3 years. She was in competed in the championship game, NEAC Player of the Week, meantime. She became captain, selected at NEAC All-Conference First Team 11 times. Later, Gallaudet, her record would stand for the relay teams, broke one record. And that was 23 years old at the time. And we broke that one, and then her record has lasted for a long time. Now she's not swimming. She was tremendous influence on the team. Natural leader. She's able to share her enthusiasm for the sport and other kinds of activities as well. One of my well, the person I worked with, her last year at Gallaudet, she became assistant coach. And she used her leadership skills to promote her activities. Working as a coach was a lot of fun for me, having her be an assistant. It was a great honor to present out for the come on up to the podium.
Thank you so much. Wow, I have chills. I didn't prepare any words for today, so I'm going to speak from my heart. This is a huge crowd, and again, I just have goosebumps. And I laughed about my reaction when I saw the video. I was very shocked, of course. And I told Larry, I'm so sorry, I was just so surprised. But afterwards, it really hit me that this is a huge, huge deal to be inducted into the Hall of Fame. And to tell you, before I came here to Gallaudet, I was involved in the Olympics and other swim competitions. I was on the American team, come here to Gallaudet. I decided to swim here. Stephanie Decatur is here. And yeah, I remember playing with you as well. And before my time in 2011, I wasn't sure if I was going to continued to swim. I was around 20 at the time, and I've been involved with the Olympics, and I wasn't sure where I wanted to take my swimming career. It's a tough sport. You've got to be in the water every day. And if you don't train for a week, it really impacts how you swim as an athlete. And so you've got to be in the water on a daily basis. And those of you who are swimmers know that. So when I came into Gallaudet in the fall of 2011, I didn't come in as an undergraduate. I came into the English language program, and I wasn't allowed to be on the team. I'm not sure what the rules are today or what the English language program offers now, but I came here, and I wasn't allowed to be on the team when I first started school. They had this beautiful pool, they had all these great people and coaches, and I wasn't allowed to be on the team. Brian was the only one who would invite me to practice with the team. And I wasn't sure that I could. But I continued to be encouraged to go to school, get into the undergraduate program, which I joined in the spring, and I was allowed to compete on the swim team. And then Bill was also a coach at that time, and he really encouraged me to join the team. So I studied hard. I was able to successfully navigate the English Language Institute program, and I came in as an undergraduate student. I came in during Hell Week. If you're not familiar with Hell Week, that is the last 2 weeks of winter break where you have an intense training camp before the spring season starts. Now, I was ill-prepared to swim, and I was diving in during Hell Week. So we were practicing morning, noon, and night, and coming in and swimming all day. I remember being very sore, and I hadn't practiced much in the fall because I was not allowed to practice with the swim team. So I had to do all my practicing on my own, and then join during Hell Week. And that really gave me a good opportunity to catch up with my teammates, and I was able to set some records at the NEAC conference, and I was on the team for several years. And I remember Hell Week being one of my favorite parts and one of my favorite memories as getting me started and getting me in shape really quickly. During my 4 years, I feel like the time went so fast. Gallaudet has given me so many gifts, and it was an honor to be a holiday inductee. I will remember this for the rest of my life. Thank you so much for welcoming me here. And thank you, Warren.
You know, sometimes it's hard to make the selections from the different Hall of Fame nominations. But when it comes to swimming, I think it's easy to have that discussion because, you know, it's all numbers based and there's not much, you know, that goes into that aside from looking at the stats on Alexander's numbers speak for themselves. So very easy to pick for the Hall of Fame. Next, our Hall of Fame inductee hails from Canada, Mohan Smith, in the class of 1981. To speak on Mohan's behalf, we have Anthony Nabucci and some others.
Greetings, everybody. Hope everyone's doing well. I want to congratulate everyone who's being elected today, or this afternoon. Both of the darker now, but anyway. And also thank you to Rohan Smith. This is his sign-in. To give it up that and to appropriately defines him as who he is. and Gallaudet. In track and field, they did the competition in Gallaudet at that time when I was a student. He was a student, but a lot of things came out to watch track and field. Well, I'm sorry, not hardly either. He was good, really, very good. Now it's more well known, it's become a lot more popular. But at that time, we were at the big Rohan Smith for being a trailblazer. We gave the story here at the campus. Evidently, we had one or two really good players, but he was able to set many records. For example, best track definition in the world is at location of people coming out of Jamaica. He was born in Jamaica as well. And it seems like, he moved out of Jamaica because it was so hot and moved into Canada. But when he arrived at Gallaudet, he was well trained as a world-class athlete during his youth days. Remember Ben Johnson, former Canadian in 1988 Olympics? He trained with people that Rohan trained with them. Donovan Bailey, they're some very good friends of his. He was involved with the track club and he had great resources there. I think he went inside with Gallaudet. He had 4 years. He had 4 different coaches. The different coach every year. No consistency whatsoever in his opinion. So he was fortunate because he had resources before he came here, so he knew how to train on his own by the time he got here. He looked forward to the program. He set up goals for himself and he was very successful. He broke the 100-meter record, the 200 meters, 400, 100-2 relay, the 55-meter. He set the record there, and then Patrick broke that record. His records are meant to be broken, but his have lasted 30 years. Eric Grinder until Eric Grinder came and broke the record. We were moving career, and we played from morning to night. We get up every day about 5:30 or 6. No matter what time we went to bed at night, we'd be getting up at 5:30 or 6. And you would wake me up and say, let's go practice, let's run. I was just running from my tennis. Work out with sprints so I would do my quizzes on the tennis court. So I'm just having my training setting there waiting for him. But he was committed, he went all the time. He never missed a practice, very strong self-discipline, and that's a character trait of his all through Gallaudet, demonstrating his athletic competition. He was involved with, he was a coach for the Jet Olympics. Me, a role model for many young children, were proud to talk about his accomplishment and achievements. He was CAC track player of the year, captain 2 or 3 years freshman, captain of the track team also. He made great contributions during his time here. We want to thank Gallaudet for recognizing him today. Congratulations to you, for being part of the 2023 Hall of Fame team. Control our motions, thank you. Thank you. This is coming from the bottom of my heart. When I got the call from Warren, I was at a loss for words. I was shocked. Me? Hall of Fame? I couldn't quite find the words to describe what I was feeling and thinking in that moment. And it took until this morning to figure out a way to describe the feeling that I had. And the word is, really? Am I really in the Hall of Fame? Am I really selected?
is my reality. The reason that I came to Gallaudet was for the sport. I think that Gallaudet has given me not only an opportunity to succeed academically, but to also thrive athletically. Being a challenge maker, I will always be running barefoot, running against my friends, having races on the road, and athletics and education enhance the quality of my life. I thank Gallaudet University for giving me an opportunity to improve my skills and improve my education. Both of those experiences have shaped the rest of my life. They've gone on to have an impact on my career, an impact on my business. That work ethic that I got as an athlete has translated to the effort I put in as a career professional. So sports and education have given me not only a beautiful career, but a wonderful life. So thank you to Gallaudet. Thank you for recognizing me. And to my father, thank you very much. And I also have a lot of love in my family. Thank you. So the record that we're on set lasted for nearly 30 years. And of course, with today's techniques and nutrition and resources, it's since been broken, but Rohan is one of the biggest supporters of Eric Gregory. They've been in touch, and I think the legacy carries on through Eric. Thank you, Rohan. Next, and certainly not least, last but not least, we have Michael Weinstein. Graduated Gallaudet in 1981 and then served as an athletic director for many years. Benedict will come and present information on Michael Weinstein.
I am old-fashioned. I see you all with your fancy iPhones up here. I'm old-fashioned on my paperwork. I had worked on my tie. I had retired 3 times this morning. It's been a long time since I've been on campus. It's been a few years now. And Rebecca, I'm here to say, I was in baseball practice here in this building, just for some more historical context that you provided us. We had a cage in here, and we would run in circles on the second floor during my time as a baseball player. So when it was snowing, we would train in this room. No, I'm not that old. Anyway. I am thrilled to be here. When Iron Warren called me to come and present this award, I am thrilled to talk about this man. 2007. In 2007, I see Travis Immel, one of my former employees, when I came here in 2007, Walter Miller was president. There was no athletic director position. We were in the last week of May, and we had no athletic director. We only had a couple of months left to get things handled. So, of course, I looked up the hill to see where Mike Weinstock was working up at MSSD. He had been very successful there for 25 years as an athletic director. I saw him host children's camps. He was loved by all of the students. He knew how to have frank conversations with his kids, and I knew that at that time, MSSD was under the same provost. So I said, hey, would you mind if I borrowed the athletic director? I didn't have to go through the formal hiring process and all of that. What we were able to do was transfer Mike down for 1 year for a temporary appointment. And in that 1 year, he superseded all of my expectations. Big time. I don't know if you remember Gallaudet football at that time, but at that time it wasn't great. It was a muddy field. People were getting injured. You could see the school buses riding around campus and it looked like they were going across rocky roads. Our athletic buses. So I remember being a part of this athletic program, and I knew that when we had Mike come in, that he was perfect for the role. And he really shook things up. The football field was renovated, which was one of the biggest challenges that we had at the time. We had faculty and staff, only 5 or 6 at the time. None of them had raises. And at that time, they were like, what are you doing? You're not giving us raises, but you're putting in a fancy new field. Where's that money coming from? So we had to come in and run interference on that and make sure that we got a deferred maintenance budget versus a salary budget that comes from HR. And Mike was familiar with this because of his time at MSSD. He knew how to advocate to get money from deferred maintenance for a new baseball field. And then the new football field led into a new baseball field. And then the baseball field led into a new track and field space. And I just kept saying, yes, Mike, go Mike. Yes, yes, I love this for us, right? He was perfect for the role at the time. Now, with Mike Weinstock, Dr. Davila, I like to call the two of them the perfect storm. I want to say that we had 5 full-time coaches at that time and working under Mike's leadership, and they were really able to create 19 or 20 full-time positions that exist today. There may be 19, but I want to say that there are 20 now, and it was because of Mike's work as an athletic director. He knew year-round he had to keep an eye on these athletic programs. I'm just checking in on the interpreter. Are you good? Yes, the interpreter's good. The students know Mike, and they knew how important it was to have a full-time coach rather than these temporary coaching appointments. We needed them in the classroom, outside of the classroom, and in all of the spaces. And still today, he was the best recruitment tool that Gallaudet had. There are statistics, of course, and statistics, they say they lie, they may not lie, I don't know. But I'm here to tell you that we have the math and statistics that proves that those coaches were some of the best that were retained here in history under Mike's leadership. And without him, I don't think we would have recruited them. The students that were coming in, that we were recruiting as well, I could go on for days here. Let me check my notes. We said that Mike Weinstock was the change that needed to happen, the transformation that needed to happen. He was able to select coaches for the right positions. SID, I don't know if you all remember SID, the Sports Information Directory Office, whatever it was, really put Gallaudet on the map. Put Gallaudet, we had never been known before in the sports realm, and now they were picked for one of the helmets, and now we've got, I want to say, a new sign for the 5G helmet. They've got a new sign that they're using for a helmet now. Mike Weinstock single-handedly picked a lot of those people to create the legacy that we have today. He still has an impact on the students here on campus, and he is one of our unsung heroes. He had to also deal with many armchair experts who had a lot of opinions on what he was doing, and he never let any of that that stop his progress. He was our temporary athletic director for 1 year, and with his leadership, we were able to get 4 full-time athletic trainers. And again, I could go on for days and days about this, but I know that my time is limited, but his contributions were so deep. When we talked about the idea of GA, we talked about we need GAs here. We need to break through, and they were not just something that we had at the dorms. We had graduate assistants, GAs. If you don't know what that means, it's a graduate assistant. He was able to get all of the graduate assistants. He won all of those arguments for free through the school. And then sometimes we could see it was for the student benefit, that they could see themselves in the graduate assistants. Those graduate assistants became a pipeline for future athletic directors at a variety of schools. So he's not had an impact only here, but those graduate assistants that he honed into future athletic directors created that pipeline across the country. So you can see his lasting impact. I'm making sure I'm not repeating myself here. I haven't repeated myself, am I? I have to be very careful about that. One thing that I love about Mike is anytime you would sit down with him, he was always the first person to show up to a meeting. That man never shows up late. Never. If I got to a meeting late, I got the stink eye. I'm like, oh, I'm so sorry, Mike, as I'm trying to scoot into these meetings. That man was never late for a meeting. You were always on time, right? Time lead. And he said, of course, right. Just like with games, right? You can't be late for a game. He would come into my office and have a very stern face and say, hey, we gotta renovate this locker room. And I was like, what are you talking about? The locker room is in the back, it is not a priority. But ultimately, he was right. All of our student athletes who were coming into the university had an option as prospective students, which school they wanted to go to. And the first place that those students want to see is the locker room. I don't know how you all sign up these days. I signed an old-fashioned way to sign locker, but going into the locker room was a point of appeal for prospective students. And it was decrepit and old. And it needed to be renovated, and it is very nice now. If you go into the locker rooms now, you can see that ours are state-of-the-art. And it was to his credit that that happened. He knows, he's tapped into students. He knows what they're looking for, and he knows how to create those recruitment tools. He would also talk to me about the office, his office as athletic director, moving into the front of the building. And I was like, oh my, really? The faculty are going to have pushback on this. Anytime I go to approach the faculty, it is not easy. But you know what? He made it work. He got the right support and backing to move the athletic director's office into the front of the building. And it is in the front of the building today. The athletic department is open pretty much 24 hours. We've got trainers here at all hours. He needed to be there. The PE teachers have different hours. They're more of an 8 to 5 kind of crowd. And he was like, you know what, this is impossible. We have got to make sure that this is an accessible space for our students. I have a ton of stories here, and I have tried to go through the highlights of his time. One of the specific things was his watch. He had many under his watch he had many swimming championships, many volleyball, football championships. We're in 2013, the NEAC conference champions, and it was our first time getting into the NEAC. There were hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of players of the week that we could see come through Gallaudet under his stewardship. You could see the impact to our athletes. And when I say student athletes, we used to call them athletes, but I want to emphasize that these are student athletes. I think I've gone through most of my notes here, but I do think it's important to understand that he would also liaise with the financial aid office, knowing that students are coming in, that the finance stuff is tough. It's hard. And he would help approach that. He was a yes man, and he was always helping to bring these students in and making sure that they succeeded in all capacities. The last thought that I will leave you with is certainly not the last thought around Mike, but we were operating a budget with 15 different departments, and he would come in and he would catch my errors. Not even 1,000 thousands of dollars here. I moved $100 out of his budget. But he come for me. He was keeping an eye on the work that I was doing. And I can't tell this man no. I had to move his $100 back to his budget line item because he would spend his money right down to the very last dollar. He knew how to do it. And my assistant said, no, no, no. I can see my assistant in the back saying, no, 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 not to the last dollar, to the last penny. He really was a change agent. He was an architect of all of the facilities that you see on campus, 40 facilities you see on campus, and he transformed the role of athletic director. This is a well-deserved honor. Very much deserved. Your legacy still stands today. Your impact is still felt today. Come on up and accept this award.
Everybody looks small next to him. Look how small I was, damn it. What? I don't know. I can't follow your level of enthusiasm in the presentation. I got an email from Warren about a month ago saying you have an option. You can say thank you, or you can have up to 5 minutes to do a speech. And I said yes. I could just say thank you. So my family would perhaps song me after this event. So if I said nothing, here I am. And my family flew in Connecticut, California, different states around the country. I need to say something. It is truly an honor to be here with the other 6 Hall of Fame inductees. I'm honored to be a part of your class. I'm very excited. I feel a little strange today. I'll tell you why. I tend to be the host of this event. I've been the host of this event for five times as the athletic director, and here Warren's doing it, so I felt a little strange today. But I'm thrilled that Warren is our athletic director because we share the same passion, same vision, right? I know some Gallaudet is in good hands with doing the leadership. And your work will not go unrecognized, Warren. I think you'll agree with me that this event is not a planned project, right? Definitely. Warren says definitely. Movie Gold back there. Chris Gold back there in the back. This man is a man of few words, I'll tell you that for sure. He'll give you 1 sentence maybe, right? Nevertheless, during his Hall of Fame acceptance speech, he spoke for 17 minutes. The man of few words, 17 minutes. My goal is to beat his record today, but I can't. I just can't because we're restricted about 5 minutes on the table. He forced me to speak like within 5 minutes. It's like you're trying to run a mile instead of walking. Oh my gosh, I'll be out of breath. Every time I enter this place, I hate that TV. I hate it. And I'll tell you why. We have a new conference room, we put a new TV, 75-inch TV screens, big front campus, right? So I thought, we would have a little bit here we are, we're same executive director, same son called executive director of the Gallaudet University Alumni Association, came to see me. And I put something very special, and he said, look, it's a 90-inch TV. Now, think big. But now, I've got to get a bigger team on this one. I'd like to take some time to thank 3 presidents, Dr. Davila, there he is right there, Alan Hurwitz, he's not here, and Bobby, Bernard, and my huge big boss, Mike Benedict. I want to thank all of you for believing me, trusting in my work. Thank you so much. Without you, I would never have succeeded for sure. On June 29, 2007, my life changed. I entered Dwight brought me to the provost's office, actually, to meet with Steve Weiner, asked me if I wanted to work, and I said, well, I wasn't sure because I really had good at being assistant. We've been very successful, and then now we've come to a program that was, had already hit bottom. So I thought, well, I do want challenges. I always like challenges, and I said yes. But I said, don't announce it until Monday. I said, okay. They said, now look, Coach Larry Bruin is leaving Gallaudet. He's getting ready to move to Texas School for the Deaf. He hasn't had a job offer, and I said, oh, okay. So Saturday morning, I went to my friend's baby shower party. I told my wife I need to make a phone call, and I used their video phone, and I called Larry. And I said, they said, are you ready to move? I said, wait, I'm your new boss. I want you to stay. We worked together in SSD, and then we knew each other well. And he said, no, I can't. You think you're success, believe in me, trust me. It will happen. And finally, he informed his supposedly new boss, who was it? Chris said, sorry, I can't come, I can't accept your offer. And he did stay. So I often wonder what the volleyball team would have looked like today at Gotti, all right? Amazing job. Thank you for staying. Thank you so much. And that Saturday morning, I just wrote to Esther, and on Monday I entered my office. I'll give you a little bit of history. At MSSD, I had a 27-inch Mac computer, right? Very nice. Beautiful desk. Beautiful wooden desk. And then we moved into the new office down here. The computer was very small. There were holes in the floor. The desk wasn't level. It was horrible. And Bob developed came and started getting and said, sit down, stay seated. How's everything? I said, look at this. Look how clean this thing is. And look at the condition of the room. He said, whatever you want, I'll sign off. Whatever you want, I'll offer. So, you know what the history was like after that. I was told to get the coaches with what benefit, support. We had a $6,000 budget. This is the fellow said, don't worry, I'll get you money. And over the next 3 years, we went from $700,000 to $2.3 million. And that did help. That changed Gallaudet athletic department. And that was during your time. Thank you, Dr. Davila. Many of you know who Lou Gehrig was. You remember him, Lou Gehrig? He played for the New York Yankees. I never saw him. I liked him as an individual. He during the famous speech, he says, I consider myself the luckiest man on the face of the earth. And I feel the same. I feel the exact same way with this athletic department experience. And a wonderful team. Coach and athletic staff. I see many of you here in the audience. They never complain. We always work hard. Always. And they work long hours. I didn't like to see my coaches work, only 40 hours a week. I like to see them working more than 40. I know that's I probably don't have an EO policy or not. Anyway, they trusted my leadership and supported my vision. And I thank you, athletic department and coaches. Thank you. I love the staff and the coaches always. I want to move to Sam Atkinson. He was a sports information director. He made me look good. Without him, I would be absolutely nothing. He was the one who put the Gallaudet athletes on the map. And White, you stole my line using it. 3 years ago, he called me and said, hey, you know that I accepted a job offer at Brown University. And I was like, oh, I just couldn't believe it. You really was going to be getting all this revenue, money was good. And I understood, but I said, all right. So I contacted Travis. And I asked, okay, if I can talk with Sam and see if I can change his mind. He said, yeah, Sam. So I called Sam and I said, you need to stay. You can't go, and I'll tell you why. And I gave him all my reasons, and they were still here. I must have done my job all the time. You cannot overlook my right-hand woman, Ann Hall. She's not here, but she worked for me for more than 20 years. The MSSD and he came down to Gallaudet with me. She never said no. I would send her a huge workload. She was loyal to me. She never said no. She just got the job done. She stood by me, defended me. If someone said something bad about me, she would defend me. And I often wondered, how did she put up with me? How did she have enough patience? I really tip my hat to her. I don't think we would have been able to get this honor today without all of you. Thank you all so very much. And that's why I love my job. You made my job so easy. I know many of you don't know me very well, but I love to, pull pranks on people big time, I should say. I know many don't realize that about me. If you want to know what the pranks are, ask Amy. If you want to know what pranks I did to her, feel free to ask her. I want to thank my family for giving us a weekend to come here from all over California, Texas, Connecticut, Florida. My mom's here. Coming out of Pennsylvania, 9 years old. The morning informed me that I had been selected. I was supposed to keep it quiet, and I did for a month. And at first I was very excited. I went to my mom. She was 90 at the time, and I hope she could get the good news, and she did. I want to also thank my wife, Janet. She's my backbone, my major supporter. I didn't know what I was in for. My first 2 years at Gallaudet was pretty rough because I worked 70 to 80 hours a week at the time. Did that for 2 years. I wanted to see the athletic department thrive and grow, survive. Without putting that time in, I don't think it would have. But I wanted to see it at a high level of success before I retired. Almost all has done very well except for the press box, at football, and another press box here at stadium and concession stand. But I'm sure that they'll want to make that happen. My blood bleeds like the river. I will always be bleeding like the river. Thank you. All very much.
So, being a former athletic director in soccer, now I'm a current athletic director, I have to share a running joke. ADs usually average 3.1 users. Every conference meeting, there's a new face, and that's something that's pretty common. It's that ADs don't last that long. All it takes is a weekend or a night to be burnt out. But he was here for not only 12 years, but in total 27 years as an athletic director. And these days, that's extremely rare to find. When I was a Gallaudet student, I saw the transformation happening in athletics from where we had 5 staff to now. We had the Bison Zone, we would sell concessions. We had a sports information office with Sam. We had a fitness center. And that was my favorite part of being a student. And as head strength and conditioning coordinator, I was no longer in that role after I got there. And I told Mike, listen, I love this job. What's going on here? And he said that you actually need a full-time strength and conditioning coach. And that person was Chuck Goldstein, who is now our head football coach. And then I was his assistant at the time, but a rich experience working under Chuck, high degree of professionalism, standards, and I studied from him and learned how to be, and eventually I became athletic director at Fremont. And then I was asked if I would mind becoming an AD Gallaudet one day, and I said, yes, of course, although no one would be big shoes to fill. But all that to say, I really want to be here for 18 years, so thank you. Not only myself, but there's so many athletic directors and individuals in this room who you've had an impact on. And it's incredible. It's nice for you to be able to see the new monitors, the flooring, and the esports, and none of those would be here if it wasn't for the foundation that was built by Mike. If he had never done that, starting with the football field, I don't think we would have made the advances that we did. So thank you, Mike, President Villa, President Cordano, for all your support. It's a heartfelt moment and a beautiful close to the 2023 Hall of Fame induction ceremony. We'll take some photos, and then after that, we can mingle, and then we'll be dismissed to head back home.